Rachel here, and today I am back with another Riverdale recap. Today I'll be recapping Season 2, Episode 12. I'm going to recap the episode by going through the core four in each plot line that they are in, and then I'm going to give a little bit of my reactions and kind of what I think may be coming down the pipeline based on what we saw. Let's start off with Riverdale's resident bad boy, Jughead Jones. The first big thing to happen to Jughead in this episode is that he and Betty are suspended from the school newspaper, The Blue and Gold, based on the article he wrote about General Pickens. More importantly, the reason that he got suspended is because Hiram has said that he will sue the school due to defamation from what Jughead wrote. The bigger plot, however, with Jughead this episode is the fact that Sheriff Keller has been hanging around Jughead's trailer park because he believes it was a Southside serpent who decapitated the head off of the General Pickens statue. He believes this because the serpents were the one protesting General Pickens in the previous episode, and then the statue was decapitated. Jughead, however, says that it was not a serpent. Ultimately, Sheriff Keller starts handing out eviction notices to the Southside Serpent residents of the trailer park, and this is, they're saying, due to the fact that some people have back rent owed. And it is all but directly said that this could change if the head was found. The serpents are really ticked off, and they are blaming Jughead because he's the one that wrote the article and stirred up all this drama in the first place, and now they're being evicted. Tallboy brings back a character that we haven't seen in a little while, Penny Peabody. And of course, this is a huge shock to Jughead. Penny says that she can hold up the court proceedings and keep them all in their homes for quite a while, but what she wants is Jughead out of the serpents. And not only that, she wants to remove his tattoo with a dirty knife. Now, I can't say I blame her, since that's exactly what Jughead did to her. He broke the serpent law, and now that the serpents know, he is eligible for being kicked out. F.P. Jones gets the crown for worst dad ever in this episode after his speech to Jughead, blaming him for the demise of the Southside Serpents and saying he is going to be the reason for their downfall. Betty wants to help Jughead, so they put up some signs looking for someone who may have seen or heard anything about who actually decapitated the head of General Pickens' statue. They get a phone call, and they come to find out that it was none other than Tallboy who decapitated the statue. Jughead and Betty, of course, tell FP immediately, and they all go to a serpents meeting where they tell the serpents the truth. And then you find out from Tallboy that he admits to decapitating the statue, and he admits to doing it for Hiram Lodge, who wanted to stir up drama with the serpents. He says that he did it because he thought that it was his chance to get rid of Jughead. The serpents have voted Tallboy out of the serpents, so we do not know what's going to happen with his character. This is the first time that we're seeing a serpent be kicked out, so we're not sure what interactions will still be allowed, and if he'll continue to work for Hiram, which is what I assume he will do. We also have no idea what is going to happen with Penny Peabody. She was brought back, and Jughead was suspended from the serpents until further notice, where they can decide what to do with him for breaking serpent law. So will Penny stay a part of the serpents? Jughead and Betty meet back up at the trailer and talk about everything that happened. Jughead apologizes to her for the fact that he pushed her away because he didn't think that she could handle his darkness. She tells him that she definitely can, and the two hook up again and lead us to believe that they may have experienced their first time. Next, let's go over what happened in this episode to our resident golden boy, Archie Andrews. In this episode, we see Archie acting as Hiram's intern. He's running all around town, making deliveries, picking up orders, that kind of thing. But the big deal is that Hiram asks Archie to work his family poker game. We get a scene with Veronica warning Archie that all of the guys who are going to be at the poker game are just like her dad, and that they are not good guys, but Archie doesn't seem to think that it's going to be a problem. Poor little Archie is playing so innocent. We find out that he had been basically ignoring the agent that he was working with up until he gets invited to this poker game. He lets the FBI agent know that he got invited, and the agent is really pushing for Archie to wear a wire, but he won't do it. Archie is working the event and is kind of just making his rounds, introducing himself, getting a feel for everybody's name. When he goes to the bathroom, he overhears Papa Poutine say that he is going to remove Hiram after Veronica's party. Midway through Veronica's party, Archie is looking at Papa Poutine, and I think at that moment he realizes that Papa Poutine isn't joking and is going to try to take care of Hiram. So Archie takes Hiram aside, they go up to his office, and Archie tells him what he overheard. Hiram just lets Archie leave the room, and after he leaves, we see a phone call is made, and Archie later finds out that Papa Poutine was found dead. He finds this out, though, through the FBI agent, who asks Archie directly if he can think of any reason, anything he heard, that would have made someone want to hurt Papa Poutine, and more importantly, Hiram to hurt Papa Poutine. And we see Archie for the first time very directly lie to this agent. And it looks like he's going to try to protect the Lodge family. Now on to our resident it girl, Veronica Lodge. Veronica is having a confirmation ceremony, which is a pretty big deal in her religion and in her family. This means that a lot of family is going to be in Riverdale attending the event and are all going to be there for her, which is causing a lot of stress. We get to see a lot of her preparing for the ceremony, her going shopping and finding her perfect dress, getting her jewelry, and more importantly, we see a lot of her connecting with her religion. She has to renounce Satan during the ceremony, and she has a big problem with this because she knows that she's lying to Archie. So she meets with her family and talks to them about how they deal with the family business, and they all tell her that she has to find her own coping mechanism. Mayor McCoy and Josie come by to give Veronica a very forced apology, and Josie offers to sing at her confirmation ceremony. Veronica was not so thrilled about this and says that they can do a duet, a bittersweet symphony. Struggling with lying to Archie, she goes to talk to her father. She lets him know that she has a big problem with lying to Archie and a big problem with corrupting him with the family business. Hiram lets her know that she's going to have to make her choice, and one choice means that Archie is going to be on the outside of their family forever. Veronica decides during her confirmation to talk to her father, and she says that it doesn't matter if Archie has to be on the outside. That's what she wants because he is a good person. During her confirmation ceremony, I think is when she had that big reason, because when she was asked to renounce Satan, she looked around and she was almost uncomfortable until she saw Archie, and he was just the light in the room, and it was her goodness and his innocence, and she didn't want to corrupt that. She ends up renouncing Satan after seeing the light around Archie. She goes on with the rest of the confirmation ceremony and then on to her party. Next is the girl next door, Betty Cooper, and let me tell you, a big plot happened with Betty's family. We all know by now that Chick Cooper is in town, Betty's brother, who was given up for adoption at birth. Betty found him. They have moved him into the family home. Hal has moved out, and Chick is helping Betty fight her darkness. He's taught her about what he does in webcam, and he says that it helps him kind of find an outlet for that darkness, and we see that Betty is doing the same thing as Dark Betty. I think we are going to be seeing a whole lot more of Dark Betty. I think it's going to be a pretty big character arc for her this season. She's not only doing the webcam stuff and meeting Chick and fighting that kind of darkness within her, but we also see what's going on with her and Jug now from this episode, and I think that that's only going to continue, and she's going to kind of find that path, and hopefully she'll get out of it after she realizes that she is not that person. She's not a bad person. As you know from Jughead's recap, Betty and Jughead were both kicked out of the Blue and Gold, and this has given her a reason to catch up with Jughead. So like I said, she helps him put up flyers and ends up helping him find out that Tallboy was the one that decapitated the statue of General Pickens. She goes to the Serpents meeting, and Jughead says that she is one of them and gets to be in the vote, and she is. I guess this is because of the fact that she did the striptease and has become a member of the Serpents just like Tony did. So I'm guessing that this is actually the only thing that you have to do to become a female serpent is the striptease. So that's a pretty big deal if Betty is actually considered a serpent. There is a theory somewhere in there on the Southside Serpent's female initiation, but I'm going to need a whole lot more information or to do a whole lot more research before I can make one. So she and Jughead are making up. They end up hooking up, but right before Betty and him get really involved, she stops and says that she needs to tell him something. And when he asks what it is, you can see in her face that she changes her mind, and she ends up just telling him that she wants to experience all of him, indicating that they're going to go a lot further tonight than they ever have. But what was it that she was going to tell him? Was it about her Archie kiss that she lied to Jughead about earlier in the episode? Or was she going to tell him about Chick? Was she going to tell him about the webcam stuff? Was she going to tell him about all of it? Will she ever tell him? There is so much in that. Now onto the biggest shock in this episode, and a big shock for the entire series. Betty arrives home after her night with Jughead, and she finds her mother and her brother cleaning up blood and a body laying on her kitchen floor. Shortly before Betty arrived home, and while she was out with Jughead, Alice and Chick were eating dinner, and they get a knock on the door. Alice answers the door, and a man asks if Chick is home. Alice looks back at Chick, and we see the man very clearly, and it is the same man that is laying on the kitchen floor when Betty gets home, covered in blood. The episode ends there and leaves us with a ton of questions. Did Alice kill him? Did Chick kill him? How does he know Chick? Was he attacking one of them? What is Alice going to do if it was Chick? Is she going to cover it up? Is Hal going to find out? Is Chick going to run? Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? What do we know? My theory is that Alice is actually the one that killed this guy and that it is going to cause Chick to have to leave because everyone is going to think that it's him and they're going to be after him. Leave a comment below for my question of the day. Do you think that Archie Andrews is going to help Hiram or end up betraying him? As always, I'm Pixel and I hope to catch you on my next video.